There are 3 different ways that you can learn. And I wanted to share that this also has helped me through my life in learning how to communicate with people. So not only, it's definitely not like I'm saying about, communication styles and things, but typically you're going to fall into one of these 3 categories.
Okay.
Either you are an auditory learner, a visual learner, or a kinesthetic learner.
Right.
And the way you break those down is an auditory learner is going to be someone that hears from, or you learn from hearing.
Yes.
So that's someone that likes to listen to audiobooks. It's someone that listens like lectures, discussions, even music. So by listening, you learn. Visual learners, which I would say I'm a very visual learner. That's a person that likes to see the diagrams, the pie charts, the maps. They're going to, like when they go to a presentation, when you're learning with like thinking back in college where they have all the different lecture notes, all that kind of things. You're going to learn more from visual pictures. See, I'm a very picture person.
You're going to remember it.
You're going to remember it because of that. And the third person is a kinesthetic learner, and they learn from hands-on activities or experiencing it. So they're going to have to do something to learn something.
Touch it,
feel it, and those things. They have a, exploring an active learning environment. Welcome to the Well-Grounded Podcast. I am Diane.
And I am Leigh Ann.
And we are just so excited to share life and conversations over coffee and just our friendship and just to bring you into our lives a little bit. And this season,
so fun.
We have been doing all things good. And it comes from Romans 8:28. And that verse just means a lot to both of us.
I know.
We have had some really good guest speakers on, and we have just been delving in just how God is good in the good times, but also God is good in the hard times.
Right. He doesn't change.
He doesn't change.
Right.
And what's sometimes hard for us on earth to understand is that we're going to go through those hard times.
Right.
And that could be you right now. You might be having some difficulties with some things.
Right.
We're getting towards the end of August, and some of you may be having that child going to college for the first time. You might be launching someone
might be sending your last child to college for the first.
You might be enjoying a new season, which is yourselves as well in your household, and but embracing that good that comes with the hard.
Right.
And I wanted to just give a shout out again to our first guest that came on our season 3.
Yes.
And that was Erin Warren. We're going to put in the show notes again. She is an author and just an exceptional teacher on the biblical word. And she came in and kind of unpacked Romans 8:28 for us.
Right.
And she did some great, just breaking down of that verse and just Romans, the entire book.
In the context of what was going on at the time that letter was written and all of that. Yeah.
And what was great about it is she just gave us some great insight on how we can really apply that verse. So if you haven't watched that episode, that came back out in May.
Right.
It was our first episode in season 3.
Yeah, season 3, episode 1.
Episode 1. And you can go back and look at that. And you can also just look up online. She has a whole store of resources that she has created, a bunch of Bible studies and some different things. So if you really are trying to deepen your study in the word, we really want to point you
encourage you in that. And
Erin.
we're going to link all of that so that's really easy to find for you. And if you're driving right now and you need to find that later, every one of our episodes, we really take the time to make sure if we mention something, if we highlight a verse or something, that it's listed. It's in the show notes.
And that's whether you listen to it on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you find your podcast, that those show notes are kind of like your go-to to get the meat of all the things that we talk about.
Even the silly episodes have links.
Yes. If you didn't see our top 10 verses, that was put out in June, and that was such a fun episode, and we link all those verses as well. And so, we truly believe that Well Grounded is not only a podcast, but it's a resource.
Right.
And in mothering, because we've both been there for many years. Our oldest, your oldest has just had a birthday recently.
27
My oldest is going to be 25 this year. And so as we're reaching those milestones in their lives and things, what it's taught me is that motherhood is just this ongoing journey. We continuously learn new things. And that's one reason why we wanted to do the podcast is because we wanted to bring those insights and not say that we're experts or anything.
No, but also you're watching us as we're learning it too. And we really, you get into the middle grades or like young elementary age or middle school or something. And you're like, okay, I've got a groove going. Something new hits you. You're learning, you're seeking the Lord about it. But adult children is this whole other thing where we're like, where's that line between mother and friend or mother and sister in Christ? And, we've hopefully been planting seeds in that as they've grown up, but we're really trying to release them and let not be their Holy Spirit, but wanting to encourage them in that way. And that kind of segues to today's topic.
Definitely.
So I don't want to give the whole thing away, but you've probably seen from the title that it's called Good Talk. So one of the things, I love that phrase. We get together and we go, good talk. That was good.
Yes.
But we also just today want to encourage that communication. So whether it is with your adult children, in your marriage, with someone at work, a friend, whatever, that this is God's design, and kind of we're just pointing you towards some things we're learning about that. And so we want to share that with you today. But before we do that,
we're going to have
our latte. What is our latte moment today?
Our latte moment today is kind of exciting, I think. So being that it is summer, I wanted to find something that was going to be different. Because you could have your lavender latte and you can have all these different summer drinks that you see online everywhere. But I found this one, and it is called a cold brew coffee lemonade.
Oh my goodness, y'all.
So this is definitely something different. Now, some of you may have just heard those words and gone like, ew, why would that even be good? Well, we can attest because we've tried it. It actually kind of tastes refreshingly good. And one of the things the lady, the recipe will be in our show notes, but she said, when you think of an Arnold Palmer, which we all have heard of that's tea and lemonade mix. And it's pretty much a 50-50 split. When you get it in a restaurant or at somewhere, if you make it at home. What is different about this drink is it is a 1-to-3 ratio. So that is one of the really key things about this. So you do not even have to make this. It can be all store bought, which is what I did. So you buy the cold brew. You could make cold brew, but you buy the cold brew and you buy the lemonade and you make this drink. So it is about as simple as it gets.
The cute little cut up lemon on the top. That's your homemade part.
That's your homemade part. And so you do like 2 ounces of lemonade and then 6 ounces of cold brew.
It's like a splash of lemon in your cold brew. So, and I don't know that I'm not an expert palate or anything, but it has you can taste the coffee and the lemon at the same time. It's not like making a new flavor. It's like having a splash in there of that. Is that a good way to describe it? They almost
keep it separate.
And
one of the things
Two distinct strong.
The recipe kind of talks about is how if you use too much lemonade, it does overpower the coffee. So that's why that ratio is really important. And the other big key, it said, now this is not a really sweet drink. But if you choose to make your lemonade homemade, which some people could with lemons, water, and sugar. Just add more sugar to make it sweeter. And if you wanted to, you could also add some simple syrup, which is just a sugar syrup to this to increase the liquid version sweetener. But you do not, and I'll say do not, want to add creamer because they said in all of the notes that if you add creamer, it will actually curdle in your drink because it just does not mix with these two items in a drink. So no dairy,
chemical
creamers,
mixture here,
things like that, and stuff. But I just thought, when I was looking up the different recipes, I was like, how interesting is that you could have a cold brew lemonade? And I actually kind of think it's kind of good.
It's fun.
It's fun, very refreshing.
I'm also going through a really big lemon phase right now. So I'm kind of all things lemon right now. All things good. All things lemon.
All things good.
I've been like cutting up fresh lemon in my water almost every day now. Like it's very summery and good for, makes me drink more water.
And it does say to garnish with a lemon slice. So that kind of makes
adorable.
It fun. Yes.
It's really cute. It's really cute.
Any mason jar at home.
This is good.
All that.
Clink.
It's very good. Clink.
Around the mic.
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you. Was that too loud for you? Oh, that's so fun. Yes.
That is our latte moment.
Dun, 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 dun.
And let us know if you try it. Let us know how you like it, because you can even snap a picture. You can send it to us, DM us,
this
comment.
Is the most unusual combo.
Think so, yeah.
I mean, we had to taste it. Diane was like, I'm going to make this and we're going to be honest with our people. But
yes,
it is. If you like those flavors, I mean, you can distinctly taste both. Yeah. So that's great.
It's fun.
Well, we're launching into a really fun topic today.
I agree.
We love talking.
Yeah.
This is
That's
a good
why
one
the
for
podcast
us.
happened.
We're like, we have to do an episode on communication, because honestly, even if you're a big talker or the words come easily and, you are more verbal in that way, we still have some accountability for how we're connecting with people through that, right? It's a two-way situation, being sensitive to what the other person needs. For some reason, my default with this when we were preparing was really kind of thinking about the person who's struggling in a communication right now.
Yeah.
It's going south or going sideways. Is that the word?
Yeah, sideways.
That, and they want to build that communication with somebody in their life, but they don't understand why they feel like they've tried or the other person tried and it's not clicking. So we just want to put some guidelines around it with the Word of God, with some research that we've done, and just kind of give you some, like, a refocus on it.
Yeah. And I think for most of us, we can probably, if we stop and think for a few minutes, come up with a time in our lives that we've had that not so fun kind of conversation with someone. And communication does tend to have that negative idea behind it, because a lot of times we do associate a conversation that doesn't go well
with conflict
communication
or something.
skills or with conflict. But we want to share
challenging communication
things today that can help you build good communication skills. We're going to share some, like you said, different ideas behind it. I've got a couple of resources and books that have worked well for me. And honestly, communication is in everything. You start out young, if you think about it, in grade school, and you have to learn how to talk to your teacher. And then when you get into college, you have to talk to your professor. And then when you get into work, you have to talk to your boss. And then when you get into marriage, you have to talk to your spouse. So communication is going to be there. Regardless if you want it to or not. And, and as we know with adult children, that is a part that often is a hang up. And because it changes as they get older.
And what we want to address today is it's both, it's what you're saying and how you're saying it. Sometimes you're like, I was just telling the truth about this. But God looks on the heart in that, and like, how was that coming across to the other person? And and it doesn't mean that you were really wrong in speaking the truth. It's that, is there a better? Sometimes it's not just a clear right and wrong, because it's so relational. Like communication with someone else is so relational. And I can share something with my husband on one day of the week, and he takes it differently than a different day. And I'm the same way. If he brings it up at a time when I'm insecure or upset, my mom used to say, don't attack your dad with every crisis of the day as he's walking in the door. Like you're kind of teaching and seeing that. So,
well, I wanted to share a quick verse as we get started with things, because communication, we're trying to give you those like little communication skills and things today. And Proverbs 15:1 says, a gentle answer turns away wrath. And I know that I have certain verses in my life that are my cues. That's a good word. When I'm trying to, think first before speaking always, what are those kind of cues in my head? And this is one of those verses. A gentle answer turns away wrath. And so sometimes we want to react. To something that's being said to us or not said to us. And maybe that's a cue that you can have to realize.
I love that word, because it's when God's word is in your heart, but the Holy Spirit's going to like bring up some accountability for you in that moment. Right.
Yeah.
And we don't always go with it. Sometimes we just say what we want to say in that moment, but he is trying to, if we're listening, he's going to lead us and direct us to, hey, don't forget a gentle answer turns away wrath. Or can I share another verse?
Definitely.
Then the disciples were asking, specifically Peter was asking Jesus, and this is in Matthew 18, 21 and 22. And they said, how many times should I forgive a brother or sister who sins against me?
Yeah.
Is it 7 times? And then Jesus gives that iconic answer that we know. He says, oh, I tell you, no, not 7 times, but 70 times 7.
Yeah.
Which basically was saying infinity. It's just like, just keep forgiving.
Yeah.
And the reason that we're sharing this about how we respond or the importance of forgiveness is these are walls that can come up.
Yes.
And it's not about the real conversation anymore, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's about something they did to you 2 weeks ago, a year ago, unforgiveness, 20 years ago. Like unforgiveness is, I just want to say really a quick advertisement for taking time with the Lord and asking him to show you any unforgiveness that you have in your life, because it really, the Bible refers to a bitter root.
Yeah.
Like it gets down in like a root.
It takes hold of you.
It does. Yeah. And it's not about what's going on right now anymore. It's about this old stuff that's still hanging on. So anytime that you can just take some time and say, God, show me any unforgiveness that I have. Where is this wall? And maybe that's not the cause of what the conflict is with somebody right now or what the challenging communication is. Sure. But get rid of that if it is, because that's one that makes such a difference.
Agreed.
And
I agree.
pull that wall down.
Yeah. Those are 2 very good verses to have as, resources and things, especially when you're thinking about ways to communicate, whether it's with a loved one or someone that maybe it is a hard relationship and you want to improve that. And that's what today is about is creating those skills. Right. So one of the things that, I know we have a lot of resources.
Yes, we're going to
I wanted to jump in and share that for me, for many years, I have utilized a resource with Gary Chapman, and he wrote a book called The 5 Love Languages, and we'll put that up, in our show notes. And you can take a love language test. They also do this for teenagers, for children, and he has them all broken down for different age groups. But what's key about this is there are 5 love languages, and I'll just read through them real fast. There's words of affirmation, there's quality time, there's receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. And most of the time, you're going to come into one of those kinds of love languages. And that's what if you know your other person's love language, you can communicate with them a lot easier.
It's a foundation for that.
So I could use a marriage example or a child example, but for instance, one of my daughters, her love language is quality time. So I know when she comes to me and says, Mom, can we go shopping? I know that that's her cue to me that she's needing some attention from me or she's needing time to talk. Because I will tell you, when she gets me one-on-one in the car,
that's when
it is.
You hear everything.
I hear everything. Now she's not going to do that.
Setting the stage for the communication.
Setting the stage for the communication.
Love that.
And so knowing that about your child or about your spouse even. So like, for instance, I think one of my love languages, I think I have multiple ones, which really isn't true. But anyways, I think they change with the week.
You just love.
My poor husband sometimes has to decipher this with me. But I do know quality time is one for me as well, because I can have a ton of things going, but if he'll say, let's go sit outside and talk, that just lets me download and process, and I feel very loved and cared for at that. So I don't want to spend too much time on that today, but when you can find that love language, whether it's for your spouse or your child or even someone at work, if you know, it's going to help you communicate clearer to them.
Yeah. And observing what has worked. Like if you're at a broken place in communication, have you ever had good communication with them, and kind of making an observation of like, wow, this environment or this approach or this attitude really made a difference. You know, if they're words of affirmation and you lead off
Yeah.
I think a good way to describe this is don't withhold that. If you want to share something good with someone else, be generous with your words with them on that. And it's not always a comfortable thing for some people. Like they're like, I feel awkward doing this, but it really does open the door for when those harder conversations need to have, you have a good foundation there.
And it gives you a little empathy. You know,
Yes.
if someone is coming to you and talking with you and you kind of know what that love language is,
Right.
you kind of can at least buffer it a little bit.
Right.
By knowing that. It
I
does
love
help.
that.
It does help sometimes.
That's so good. That's it's a good perspective in like observing and seeing that. Yeah. I love that. I did a little research. I saw like an Instagram reel come up. And so I did the background to find the source of that. And, you know, was this just somebody sharing this? But one of the things that it said was when they've done some study, and there's one from 2010, and then there was another one in just last year in 2024. But they basically studied young girls, like daughters, so of different ages, but coming out of a stressful situation, that hearing their mother's voice brought their stress level down.
Oh, nice.
It's really cool. I'm going to share the link for the article in the show notes. But that they basically put these girls in a really stressful situation. They had to like do math problems on a stage in front of people or something like, and when it was done, they took some of the girls and made them just wait by themselves. Some of them got to text their mom.
Yeah.
Some of them got to call their mom.
Okay.
And the most calming like response was for the girls that heard their mother's voice.
Wow.
Even the texting
wasn't
do it as much as calling.
Nice.
Now, I'm right there with everybody else, that I can go a long time with my daughters who are adults and busy and not talk to them because we're using texting too much. And so one of the things I wanted us to the reason I'm sharing that is they were saying that all communication is better than no communication.
True.
But we want to kind of move across from not talking to texting to verbal communication and hearing each other's voices, whether that's on the phone or in person, that there is literally a chemical reaction
I love that.
Calming.
I love that.
And it reduces stress is the way that this study did it. So it's pretty cool. So anyway, and also we just know that for most people, whether it's a little bit or a lot, we do need to verbally process because some things in our head are really different than when we say it out loud. And
agreed.
I have had many times where I was like, I have to deal with this until I can talk to my mom or talk to my daughter or something. So,
And it is very true, because I think the more you know, when our world gets so busy, our days get so busy that sometimes we don't have time. Like I know for me, I've fallen into the trap sometimes of not picking up the phone because I've got background noise. But you can text someone, or like you're even in a meeting or something, and you need to respond to someone, or you think of it in your head, and you can text someone. So texting is very convenient,
right? Oh,
and it does create that connection, which you
Yes.
want, but it does not substitute for the actual physical in-person conversation or over the phone conversation. I think we need to make sure.
It's like, and I love that. I love the way you said that. It's like, if you're thinking of somebody and you don't have the margin right now to talk, call them, send them that text and just say, thinking of you, love you.
Sure.
Send those verses like Diane does to her kids, or a little photo. That we've shared this on a recent, one of our first episodes, we shared about if your college child is not calling you back, send a picture of the family pet. The pet always gets them.
They always
have to
always
respond to
message
that.
back.
It's like, oh, that pet misses me. So,
I wanted to also bring up another book that we have used many times in our business side of things, but he is a really unique author. His name is Marcus Buckingham. He is from England, and he worked for Gallup. And which, if you know, Gallup does polls and all sorts, and he's researched. He's done so many different things. So if you look up his name, you're going to find a bunch of different books. One of the books that he had is called Now Discover Your Strengths. And in this book, he walks you through a kind of a survey of sorts that talks about your strengths finders.
Love it.
So similar to love language, it's also teaching you what your strengths are. And then his next book talks about how you can create those strengths to help you stand out, whether it's at a job, in your family, and just in life.
Building on your own strengths. Love it.
Because we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses.
Right.
But instead of focusing, like he said, this is really a very short summary of it.
Yeah.
But he said, why do we spend 80% of our time trying to build up our weaknesses? We should spend 80% of our time building up our strengths.
Right.
And it's very true. If you know that something is your strength, build it up and make it better.
And from the communication standpoint, that makes so much sense. It's like leaning into what you already do well.
Yes.
Rather than trying to pretend to be a person that you're not.
Yeah.
We're not saying that. We're not saying you can be all things to all people all the time.
Yes.
We're saying that whatever you are doing well, don't starve that.
Yeah.
Strengthen that up. Build that up. I love it. That's good.
When you think of communication, Leigh Ann, and you think of like how, like with your kids, even with your spouse and things, what do you find sometimes prevents you from communicating?
So this has changed. And I would say in this season of my life, I've had a little more caution. Like I'm risk averse. I'm not wanting to pick a fight. I think when I was younger and feistier, I was like, bring it on. We're going to deal with this. My family called it shelve or delve. Like, we're going to delve into this. We're going to work it out. And I am a little more cautious now. So some of that, I don't know if it's an aging thing or a whatever, but I just am like, maybe I have such a limited time with my family. I'm like, I don't want us to fuss about stuff right now. I want to deal. But in general, I think that, so lately I feel like it's been in my head a little bit, like I'm avoiding conflict, but it can lead to avoiding communication. And that's the thing that can be kind of dangerous. So one of the things that I love about working something out, and I am very verbal, and I do like to everybody to put their cards on the table and let's really know how everybody's feeling and thinking, that whole process is usually really satisfying to me. It's like, at the end we all
work it out. Yeah. Very cathartic.
It feels, yes. And I usually will hang in there until we get to that point. So yeah, I don't know if that was an answer to your question.
Well,
but yeah.
I think it is.
What were you thinking?
The goal, I was just kind of throwing that out there to just say, I think sometimes as we get older, we don't want to have, like, we want to capitalize on that time that we have with our family and with our friends and not worry. It's like my mom used to say all the time, don't sweat the small stuff, and it's really true. I think as you do age, you kind of realize those priorities, and being together is more important than maybe fixing all of the problems of yesterday.
Or we're predicting like, we've talked about something before and we're predicting, we know how this is going to go. Yeah. Well, we don't always know. Yeah. And if we come in with those guardrails that from the word of making sure it's not about unforgiveness from the past, making sure that we are being careful with what we say, So I know in marriage particularly, everything's weighted because we're trying to solve something together. Yeah. And that there's can be pressure on those conversations. It's like, had a great conversation with our daughter Julia last night about, are you more the practical in your in communication, or are you more like feeling it's emotions, right? And so if I'm trying to solve a problem and you're trying to tell me how you feel. Yes. We're having two different conversations, really. Two different conversations. So we were talking about that in terms of that. So there's definitely the male-female piece in marriage. Oh, yeah. There's the age dynamics, the generational dynamics with that. And I don't want us to just go in a big circle about this. I want us to leave this conversation with the encouragement that wherever you are, move to the next stage of it and not be discouraged.
I like how share a little bit more about that, because I know you had written down that you were saying that if you are a texter, maybe try to pick up the phone and call that person
into the mix, right?
If you're not always a visitor, maybe call to say, can I stop over? Can I see you in person? Right. Because
it's a progression of quality. Yeah. And we know from growing up without texting.
Yeah.
That the conversation was really different from one style and one type of communication to the other.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to say things to somebody's face that we'll text. And we had to struggle with this with our kids navigating and texting their friends. And you're like, that probably went off the rails because in a text, I can't hear your tone of voice. That sounds really snippy, or that sounds really mean, or whatever. So
I've had so many conversations about that with my kids, for sure, as growing up in the middle school and teenage years. And it's just, at the end of the day, almost every single time I was like, let's see if they'll meet at Starbucks, or let's see if they'll meet in person, because this is getting out of hand really fast.
Yeah.
So,
and we do soften over the phone.
Yes.
And we soften even more in person. Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to share, I know I have always been fascinated that there are 3 different ways that you can learn. And I wanted to share that this also has helped me through my life in learning how to communicate with people. So not only, it's definitely not like I'm saying about, communication styles and things, but typically you're going to fall into one of these 3 categories.
Okay.
Either you are an auditory learner, a visual learner, or a kinesthetic learner.
Right.
And the way you break those down is an auditory learner is going to be someone that hears from, or you learn from hearing.
Yes.
So that's someone that likes to listen to audiobooks. It's someone that listens, like lectures, discussions, even music. So by listening, you learn. Visual learners, which I would say I'm a very visual learner. That's a person that likes to see the diagrams, the pie charts, the maps. They're going to, like when they go to a presentation, when you're learning with like thinking back in college where they have all the different lecture notes, all that kind of things. You're going to learn more from visual pictures. See, I'm a very picture person.
You're going to remember it.
You're going to remember it because of that. And the third person is a kinesthetic learner, and they learn from hands-on activities or experiencing it. So they're going to have to do something to learn something.
Touch it,
feel it, and do things. They have a, exploring an active learning environment. And so if you can think about one of those 3 areas categories that you fall into, it also is going to help you, because I'm just going to say, if I'm a visual learner and you're a kinesthetic learner, and if I just sit here and I just throw pictures at you and diagrams and charts, it's just going to literally communicate to you. You won't even understand it. But if I know that you're a kinesthetic learner and we walk and talk together, then you're going to learn more from that. And so learning that about yourself and others around you really is a great way to help you in communicating.
And you're bringing your best and their best.
Yes.
Because it's not like, you're not listening to me, or you don't care about what I'm saying. They literally have tapped out on the way they can receive that download from you. Whether it's like something practical for work or sharing their feelings, you know, it's like, it's not because I don't care. And I think I was really guilty of saying, you must not care about what I'm saying if you're not zoned in on it. But this is really helpful because
I will tell you,
can't help it. They're not.
For years, this goes way back in my childhood, but my dad would read the paper every day, and I would go in to talk with him. And again, remember, I'm quality time probably, right? And I would be sitting across from him, and he would literally be with the newspaper open the whole time while I'm talking. And I'm like, he's not listening to me at all. There's no way he can hear me if he's reading the paper at the same time.
Yeah.
But he was a kinesthetic learner and an auditory. So he was listening the whole time.
Right.
He didn't have to see me.
Right.
But I'm a visual learner.
Right.
And so it was like, but like learning about that. And I was like, but I would ask him questions like, what did I just say? And he would know what I said. And I was like, that's crazy.
Amazing.
So because I'm not an auditory learner, it was very hard for me to relate to that.
Right.
But just knowing that's like a
you would have been
little
tuning it out. You would have been tuning it out.
Example. Yeah. About how people can do different things.
And I do want us to wrap up on the idea that give people the benefit of the doubt. And I know I do feel like we've covered this, I touched on it in another episode. I'll have to look up which one it was. But I do want us to pursue communication as a noble cause.
Yeah.
That it's worth it for the people that we love or the people that we work with, that we need to be clear.
Yeah.
We want to have the truth of what we're really saying be communicated with them.
Yeah.
And if you're discouraged in that, we're praying for you today.
Yeah.
We want you to kind of take a deep breath and start again.
Yeah.
Like, and if you haven't sent the text in a long time because you feel like there was tension there, go ahead and just craft a sweet text, something light, get it started again and get that rolling, whether it's in your marriage where things have gone quiet or in, you haven't heard from your kids, your friend that you miss, that you're like, hey, I'm going to start with something easy and we're going to build back up.
Yeah.
Just like anything else, whether it's our prayer life and our communication with God or with another person.
And I think definitely we want to leave that with you with that encouragement to just know that kind of, take that step. Yep. Be courageous.
Right.
It may end up great or it might not, but at least you know that you've put your heart into it and you've done your best with that.
And you're not blocking it on your side.
Yeah. I think as we end today, we definitely, want everyone to hopefully have learned something. We're going to put a lot of these resources in our show notes.
It's so worth it.
And if you are not on us, follow us on Instagram. Make sure you go to Instagram and subscribe and like and share, and just so we can connect with you. And in between episodes, that's where we put all sorts of information. We do a latte moment. We have usually a giveaway. We do some fun things to interact with our listeners. And so make sure you are a follower on Instagram. And also we're newly on TikTok, so you can find us on there as well. So we're excited. We're just thankful.
The cold brew lemonade coffee.
Definitely.
You guys. So fun.
As we wrap up today, let's share our theme verse, which comes from Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him and who are called according to his purpose. And we believe that verse. We are living that verse out. We are encouraging you with that verse today because we just wholeheartedly believe that we live with a good God.
That's right. So you guys be refreshed,
be encouraged,
and stay well grounded.